I didn't expect my life to shift the way it did, not from some loud explosion or dramatic twist, but from something as small and innocent as a 6-year-old girl asking for ballet shoes. It started with a flood. 8 years ago, Timothy and I were both stranded in a tiny roadside diner during that massive storm that shut down half the state. No cell service, no road out, just a bunch of strangers playing cards by candlelight. I remember laughing so much that night. He had this easy way about him making even the worst situations feel manageable. When service came back, we exchanged Instagrams. A month later, we were dating. 2 years later, married, and not long after that, Avery came along. Avery is 6 now, and honestly, she's the best part of me. A little whirlwind in sparkly socks, always dancing, twirling, jumping from couch cushions like they're stages. When she came home one afternoon, rambling about her friend Olivia's dance class and how they got to wear real ballet slippers, I saw the light in her eyes. She begged me, "Please, Mommy, can I go too?" And just like that, something inside me clicked. Of course she should. She has all this energy, and I figured why not channel it into something beautiful? That night after dinner, I brought it up to Timothy. Just casually with that kind of hopeful, excited tone you use when you're sure the other person's going to say yes. But instead, he laughed. Not the sweet, warm laugh I fell in love with, but this short, cold snort that made my stomach twist. "We can't afford luxuries like that," he said, barely glancing up from his phone. Then he added, "Unless you're planning on contributing more financially." That stung a lot more than I let show. See, when Avery was born, we agreed that I'd cut back to part-time work. It wasn't just my decision. It was a plan, a team thing, and as far as I knew, we weren't struggling. We lived in a modest house. No fancy vacations, sure, but we had everything we needed. I told him $60 a month didn't seem impossible. That's when he pulled up our bank account and showed me the numbers. I'll admit it looked tight, but something about it felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it then. I just felt this heaviness in my chest, like I'd missed something important. Timothy had always handled our finances. He was the numbers guy. He said I trusted him. I always had. So when he suggested maybe I should pick up some extra shifts, I nodded. I found a second job waitressing at a nearby diner 4 nights a week on top of my daytime office work. The schedule was brutal. I came home smelling like grease, my feet screaming, and my eyes barely able to stay open through bedtime stories. I told him once how exhausted I was. Just once. You know what he said? You don't get to be tired if you barely contribute. That line still echoes in my head sometimes. I swallowed my pride, told myself it was for Avery, for her dance classes, but months passed and she still wasn't enrolled. Every time I brought it up, there was another excuse. The class was full. The studio was too expensive. We'd start next season. I wanted to believe him. I really did. Until Avery started mentioning someone named Lisa, Daddy's friend. She called her Lisa's Nice. She makes pancakes with chocolate chips and lets me play with her phone. At first, I brushed it off. We all have friends, but then came the other comments. Lisa takes prettier pictures than Mommy. Lisa says, I have her smile. Lisa might come to my birthday, and then the name slip. One night, Avery looked up at me and said, Mara, can I have another cookie? I blinked. What did you call me? She shrugged. Lisa says your name is Mara. It felt like the floor cracked open beneath me. That moment, it wasn't screaming or crying, it was silence, the kind that wraps around you like ice. I started watching more closely after that. Timothy was always gone on my nights off, always had work dinners, or stayed late. Avery came back from sleepovers at Lisa's with stories about pools and stuffed animals and new toys. We still couldn't afford dance classes, supposedly, but Timothy suddenly had a new smartwatch, new shoes, fancy restaurant charges on our joint account, and then came the night I came home early from the diner. The house was empty, Timothy's car gone, no response to my texts until half an hour later. He said they were out getting ice cream. But when he finally showed up, Avery was buzzing with excitement about the movie they'd seen and the new outfit she was wearing and how Lisa had helped her pick it. That night I asked him straight out, why lie about where you were? Why can't we afford dance classes? But she has a whole new wardrobe, and who is Lisa to this family? He looked at me cold, not angry, just detached. Then he said something I don't think I'll ever forget. Maybe if you were more fun, she'd still call you Mommy. No yelling, no apology, just that. And I remember thinking, this is it. This is where things begin to fall apart. I started noticing the shift in little ways, the way Avery talked more about Lisa than me, the way she hesitated before calling me Mommy, like she was testing the waters, unsure if it was still okay. Timothy wasn't being outwardly cruel, not yet. But he was slippery, always busy, always tired, always too distracted to have a real conversation. Every time I tried to bring up Avery's dance classes again, he had a reason to delay. The good studio's full. We should wait until next session. Let's save up a little more. Meanwhile, our daughter was coming home with brand new toys, new clothes, stories about the zoo, the movies, even an amusement park visit I had no clue about. Once I asked her where she got the pretty pink dress she was wearing, she said Lisa picked it out. Another time, I overheard her telling a friend on the phone, Lisa makes better pancakes than mommy. That one hurt. I know it shouldn't have. It's just pancakes, but it did. One night after a particularly brutal shift at the diner, I came home early because business was slow. The house was dark. Timothy's car was gone. I texted him, "Everything okay?" No reply. 30 minutes later, he texted back, grabbing ice cream with Avery. "Be home soon," but when they walked in an hour later, Avery was practically glowing. She was in a whole new outfit, talking nonstop about a movie they saw, not ice cream, a movie. And the way she said, it was clear Lisa had been with them. After I tucked Avery into bed, I asked him calmly, no accusations, just questions. "Why did you say ice cream when it was a movie? Where did that outfit come from? And why? Why is Lisa in every single memory Avery talks about?" He gave me this cold, flat look, like I'd interrupted something important. Then he said, and I swear my heart stopped for a second, "Maybe if you were more fun, she'd still call you mommy." I didn't say anything. I just walked to the kitchen, poured myself water, and stared out the window like I was watching some other woman's life fall apart. The next morning, I looked at Avery and realized I was losing her. Not to Lisa exactly, but to this version of reality where her mother is a background character. I started paying attention. Timothy had work dinners every Wednesday, coincidentally my only night off. There were restaurant charges on our credit card always late at night. New clothes showed up in his closet, but somehow we couldn't afford dance classes. One night, Avery came back from Lisa's house with stories about swimming in the building pool and a playroom filled with toys. I didn't even know Lisa had a pool. Or a building. I asked Timothy again lightly if Lisa lived in a complex with a pool. He snapped, said I was being paranoid, that Lisa was just a friend going through a divorce and needed company, that she was good with kids, that he was doing her a favor by including her. He made me feel like the crazy one. Gaslighting 101. That weekend, I found a stack of printed photos in Avery's dresser tucked beneath her pajamas. Like a secret treasure, pictures of her Timothy and a woman I'd never seen before. Blonde, slim, polished in various places, a water park, a Christmas tree lighting, even an amusement park. They looked like a family, a happy little family. In one photo, Avery was wearing a pink tutu and ballet shoes. My hands started shaking. That photo was dated over a year ago, over a year. So while I was working double shifts to save for dance classes, he had already been taking her with Lisa, and somehow I never knew. That was the moment something inside me cracked, not broke, not yet, but cracked. I wasn't just angry, I felt erased, like I had been written out of my own daughter's childhood, like Lisa had been quietly, steadily taking my place, and I had helped her do it by being too tired, too trusting, too absent. It's funny how betrayal doesn't always feel like a knife in the back. Sometimes it's a slow leak, drip by drip, until one day you look down and realize you're standing in a flood and don't even remember when it started. The next morning over cereal, Avery asked me a question that chilled me to the bone. Is Lisa gonna be my new mommy someday? I nearly dropped my coffee mug. I asked her where she got that idea. She just shrugged and said, "Daddy and Lisa are special friends, and she sleeps in Daddy's room when I stay over." I didn't even respond. I just sat there staring into my cup like it had answers I couldn't find anywhere else. That night I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Timothy snored beside me like nothing was wrong. Like he hadn't already started a new life just down the road with another woman and my daughter. And that's when I decided no more waiting, no more hoping he'd come to his senses, no more swallowing my pain to keep the peace. If he wanted to replace me, he was going to have to fight me for it. And this time, I wasn't playing nice. I didn't explode, I didn't throw plates or scream or cry on the floor the way people do in movies. Instead, I started making a plan. Because once your child asks if another woman will be her mommy, you either fall apart or you sharpen. And something in me clicked. I chose sharp. I started with the bank. Timothy had always handled our finances, told me I wasn't good with numbers, and for years I believed him. I didn't even have the login to our joint account anymore. He'd changed the password, said it was more secure that way. But that week during lunch break at my day job, I drove to the bank branch near my office, told the teller I needed physical statements, couldn't access the online account. I had to show ID, explain I was a joint holder, and practically beg for someone to take me seriously, but once she handed me that stack of papers, I knew I'd been right to push. 18 months of quiet betrayal stared back at me in black and white. Monthly transfers, $300 here, $500 there, all to an account I'd never heard of. Charges from restaurants I'd never been to, hotels in nearby cities. A $1,000 purchase at a jewelry store, all while I was clipping coupons and skipping haircuts to save for ballet shoes. And then I saw the property tax record, a condo across town. In Timothy's name, purchased a year ago. I didn't even know we owned a second property, but apparently Timothy did. And guess where Avery had been going on those sleepovers? Not Lisa's place, their place. I took photos of everything, made a digital copy, printed out another set, hid them in an envelope marked insurance in a filing cabinet under old utility bills. That night, while Timothy worked late again, I went through his home office drawers. My hands shook the entire time. I kept expecting him to walk in, but I found more. A credit card statement for a second card I never knew existed. 2 plane tickets to Florida, his name and Lisa Harrington's. Emails about a training conference he told me he was attending during the same week. My whole marriage had become a cover story. A lie so layered I wasn't even sure when it started. I sat on the back porch until midnight, just sitting. Not crying, not even thinking. Just trying to exist in the reality I now understood. He hadn't made me take a second job because we were struggling. He did it to get me out of the way. The next day, I rearranged everything. I called the diner and changed my shifts to early mornings. No more evenings, no more being gone at bedtime. I didn't care about the tips. I wanted time with Avery. Time I'd lost time. I wouldn't give up again. Timothy asked why I just said I miss being a mom. He blinked, confused, said something about how we needed the money. I smiled and said, I'll figure it out. That afternoon, I picked up Avery from school myself. We went for ice cream, just the two of us. She was shy with me at first, almost like we hadn't done this in a while, and I guess we hadn't. But by the time we finished our sundaes, she was giggling again, telling me about Olivia's new puppy and a bug that got stuck in her lunchbox. She looked up and said, "Do you think I could still do dance class?" That was it. That was the moment I decided I wouldn't wait another second. We drove straight to the dance studio. Olivia goes too. I paid for 3 months in advance using tips I'd been secretly saving. When I told Avery, she screamed in the parking lot. Full on jump up and down excitement. And then she asked, "Can I tell Lisa?" I paused, and for the first time I set a boundary. I said, "Let's keep this one just between you and me, a mommy-daughter secret." That weekend, I bought her a proper leotard, real ballet shoes. She twirled in the living room like it was the stage of the New York City Ballet. Timothy came home and saw the bag from the dance store. He asked where the money came from. I looked him straight in the eye and said I saved it for something that actually matters. He didn't say much, but the look on his face. It wasn't guilt, it was fear. And I realized something then. For the first time in a long time, he didn't know what I was doing, and that terrified him. I kept digging. Found Lisa's Instagram private, but the profile pic matched the woman in Avery's photos, her LinkedIn. She works at the same company as Timothy. Of course she does. I opened a new bank account under just my name, transferred small amounts weekly, hid backup copies of my evidence at my mom's place. I even created a new Google Drive, just in case. Then I met with a lawyer. I laid it all out, financial records, photos, receipts, everything. She listened quietly, then looked at me and asked, "What do you want?" And I just froze. What did I want? I want my daughter back. I want to stop feeling like a ghost in my own house. I want financial stability that doesn't come with lies. I want Lisa out of my life. And I want Timothy to face what he's done. The lawyer nodded and said, "Then let's get to work." And just like that, something shifted. I wasn't the tired waitress anymore. I wasn't the invisible wife. I wasn't the Mara that Lisa called me. I was me, a mother, a woman, a fighter. And this time I had the truth on my side. Healing didn't come with fireworks. It didn't show up in some dramatic declaration or a perfect moment where everything fell into place. No, healing came in little cracks of light, moments so quiet I almost missed them. Like the way Avery lit up when I picked her up from school instead of Timothy. Like the first time she called me mommy again out of nowhere, like it had never been lost. That night I had to excuse myself and cry silently in the bathroom. It was working. Not all at once, not cleanly, but it was working. I leaned into that small momentum. I became laser focused on rebuilding our bond. I joined the parent participation class at her dance studio, even though I can't dance to save my life. I looked like a newborn deer on ice, stumbling through each routine. But Avery thought it was hilarious. She'd grab my hands and say, "No, mommy, like this," and show me the move again, serious as a little instructor, and somehow, those moments felt like medicine. Timothy, of course, noticed the change. He didn't say anything at first, but I saw it, the unease. The way he started asking oddly specific questions, what shifts I was working, who was watching Avery, whether my mom was visiting soon. Once I caught him trying to unlock my phone, he played it off like he forgot the passcode. But the look in his eyes, he knew I knew something, and that made him nervous. Good. Then came the invitation, his parents' 40th anniversary party, a formal brunch with extended family, old friends, everyone they've known for decades. And guess who else was invited? Lisa. He told me in passing like it was no big deal. Said she might stop by because she'd been helping with Avery while I was busy building my career. As if working 2 jobs to cover bills. He lied about was some selfish pursuit. I didn't argue, I didn't even blink. Instead, I texted his mom and said how much I was looking forward to meeting Lisa in person. Then I took a screenshot, then I called my lawyer. She said it was risky, but also potentially the most powerful moment to confront everything. A family setting witnesses a moment where Timothy couldn't spin a story or storm off without exposing himself. So I started preparing. I compiled everything. Bank statements, credit card records, copies of the condo documents, photos, screenshots of text threads. I printed them and slipped them into a clean labeled binder. On the front I wrote, "For the family." I also created multiple backups. A folder hidden at my mom's house, a digital copy in the cloud, one on a USB drive tucked in the lining of my purse. I wasn't just gathering evidence, I was taking my power back. Meanwhile, I kept showing up for Avery. We practiced dance moves in the living room. I made pancakes in the shapes of animals, not just because she loved it, but because I needed her to know I could do it too. I could be fun, comforting, playful, not just the mom who worked and worried and came home smelling like fryer oil one afternoon while we were eating ice cream. Avery looked at me with those big, serious eyes and asked, "Are you mad at me because I like Lisa?" My heart cracked. Not because she asked, but because she felt she had to. I took a deep breath and said, "No, sweetie. Never. It's okay to care about people. That doesn't mean you love me less." She smiled, but then her brow furrowed. "Is Lisa gonna live in the other house with Daddy forever?" Now I kept my voice calm. "What other house?" She answered like it was the most normal thing in the world. "The one with the pink room and the pool, where my unicorn toothbrush is." And there it was. Confirmation. The condo wasn't just a secret hideout, it was home to her now. A second life with bedtime stories, cartoon-shaped pancakes, and Lisa in the role of just another adult who helps. That night after Avery went to sleep, I laid everything out across the dining table, every piece of proof, every moment that had shattered me, and I made peace with it. I wasn't going to save this marriage, but I could save myself, and more importantly, I could protect Avery from growing up thinking this kind of betrayal was normal. The next morning, I drove to the condo. I didn't go in. I just sat in my car and looked up at the sleek building with its glass balconies and luxury landscaping. I watched as a woman walked in holding 2 iced coffees and a bag from the toy store. Probably Lisa. Probably carrying gifts for my daughter. I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, I whispered to myself, let them build their illusion. I'll keep the truth. Back home, Timothy was suddenly full of charm again. Flowers on the counter. Pizza and ice cream for dinner. Asking if we should take a family vacation, I played along, smiled when he reached for my hand. Said sure when he asked if I'd be at the anniversary party. He didn't know that every word was calculated. He didn't know I'd already told my mom everything and that she was coming to stay with me tonight, not next week. He didn't know he was already standing in a house of cards. And I was holding the wind. The morning of the anniversary party, I woke up before sunrise. Timothy was already up watching me sleep. Not in a sweet, sentimental way, in a calculating, almost panicked way. Like he was trying to read my mind before I opened my eyes. I stretched and asked, "Did you sleep okay?" He jumped a little, then muttered something about being excited for the party, asked if we wanted to go to the park before getting ready. I smiled. Sounds nice, but instead, while he took Avery to the backyard, I texted my mom, leaving in 20, bring the folder. We arrived at his parents' house just after 3 p.m. Timothy was pacing outside, shirt wrinkled, face pale. He spotted us, came rushing over, whispering urgently, "We need to talk, alone." I held Avery's hand tighter and said, "We'll talk later. Let's not keep your parents waiting." Inside, everything looked the same as it always had. warm wood furniture, family portraits, laughter echoing from the dining room. But I felt like I was walking into a courtroom. His mom greeted me with a hug, looked confused. Timothy said you might be working today. I smiled softly. I made sure I was free. Wouldn't miss this. She blinked, unsure how to respond. I moved on. As guests sat down for lunch, I walked over and handed her the folder. This is something I think you should see. She opened it, started flipping through. Her face shifted from polite curiosity to disbelief. Bank statements, photos, condo documents. The $1,000 jewelry receipt from the Christmas Timothy gave me a $20 scarf. Evidence laid bare. Timothy rushed over. It's not what it looks like. His father, silent until now, took the folder and read each page slowly, then asked without looking up. Is it true? Timothy stammered. We were going through a rough patch. That's not what I asked. His mom's hands trembled. Why didn't you tell us? I looked her straight in the eye. Because I didn't know until recently. And when I did, I needed to protect Avery before I protected anyone else. That's when the doorbell rang Lisa. She walked in with a gift bag and a wide smile like she belonged there, like she was part of the family. Timothy froze, ran over, whispered something in her ear. His sister got to her first, held up one of the photos. Did you know he was married this whole time? Lisa's eyes widened. He told me they were separated, that they were only living together for Avery. His sister turned the photo around Christmas. Last year, me, Timothy, and Avery in matching pajamas. Does this look like separation to you? Lisa turned pale. She didn't argue, she didn't cry, she just left, quietly. Timothy followed, babbling, I'll explain everything, just wait, but no one waited. His mother sat down on the couch, clutching the folder like a lifeline. His dad walked over to me, said quietly, I'm sorry, that was it. That was all I needed. We left soon after. Avery had no idea what happened. She'd been outside playing with cousins. She waved goodbye to her grandparents and hugged them like everything was normal. And honestly, that was the best gift I could have given her, normalcy in the middle of a storm. The next day, I filed for divorce. Timothy didn't take it well. He moved into the condo, claimed I was trying to erase him from Avery's life. Told anyone who'd listen that I was overreacting, but the truth had already been told to his family, to his friends, to me. He showed up at the diner twice. Once he stood silently at the counter, eyes hollow. My manager asked him to leave. The second time, he waited outside, said he missed us, wanted to fix things. I told him, you don't get to want us now, and I walked away. Money's tight, the court battle's just beginning. Some days, I'm overwhelmed, exhausted, scared, but most days I'm okay. I wake up early, pack Avery's lunch, walk her to school, help her practice pirouettes in the hallway after dinner. She still asks about her dad, sometimes about Lisa, and I answer gently, truthfully, but always with love. I'm not perfect, but I'm here last week while brushing her hair before bed. She whispered, I'm glad you're my mommy again. I didn't correct her. I just kissed her forehead and said, me too, baby. And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. If you were me, what would you have done? Would you have stayed silent to keep the peace? Or would you have spoken up even if it shattered everything? Let me know, I'm listening.